earlier this season, the odds of this happening with the way it's currently playing is about 0. I mean, the Pirates cannot DFA Jacob Stallings again. They got lucky with no team picking him up last time that he was DFA'd. They really did. And it was sort of like a secret designated for assignment. Like, we didn't even know about it until he had cleared waivers. And, Jacob Stallings is going to play a huge part of this Pirates team moving forward. We know that Cervelli is a free agent in 2020, and the odds of him returning are slim to none. He is injury prone at this point in his career, and his injuries have finally caught up to him. And yes, he deserves to be back on this roster for the remainder of the 2019 season, but at the same token, Stallings cannot be DFA'd. I see Cervelli as more of a backup corner infielder at this point, more so than a catcher. He is a third-string catcher. Stallings has eclipsed that. Diaz has definitely eclipsed him. And it's a sad demise for Francisco Cervelli, and he could certainly come back and prove me wrong, and I hope he does. But at the end of the day, if we're being realistic about this, Cervelli's time in a Pirates uniform is just about numbered. And if it came to it between DFA and Stallings and Cervelli, it would be Cervelli for me at this point. It would be. And again, it's a sad reality, but it is the reality. It's the ultimate demise of Cervelli. His concussions have caught up to him. All of his injuries over the course of his career have caught up to him. And he's had a fantastic career. He's one of the top 10 best catchers this decade, bar none. And he has played a big role in this Pittsburgh Pirates team and in their success, and especially 2015. Last year was a huge part in the reason why we had our first winning season since that 2015 year. And he can still play a big role in allowing this team to reach the ultimate goal and winning the World Series in 2019. He very much so can do that, but I see that more as a backup corner infielder and a pinch hitter off the bench. And if he can regain to his form doing that and allowing Stallings to continue to catch for Archer, Diaz to get the other 4 starts, it's going to make this team that much better. And Cervelli can still be a good hitter and still be a valuable pinch hitter, just like Melky Cabrera. Like, Melky Cabrera is not going to be getting the starts, but he needs to be getting the high-leverage pinch hitting situations. Just like Vasquez needs to pitch in high-leverage situations, Melky is our high-leverage pinch hitter, and Cervelli can become that. And that's what I would like to see him become. And I mean, again, let's just take a second to appreciate Jacob Stallings and everything he's done for this Pirates team, how loyal he has been to the organization, to the franchise as a whole, for all the time that he has now bounced up the several years between AAA and Pittsburgh and not spending much time at all in the Steel City. For him to finally get an extended look and an opportunity, it's been fantastic. He's a career 300 hitter, and that's what people don't realize. He's a good hitter along with a great defensive catcher, and if he gets DFA'd this time, there is a 0% chance he returns. And if that happens, and we have Diaz and Cervelli for the remainder of 2019, I mean, 2020 would look like you'd see Diaz and either bring back Cervelli or maybe Christian Kelly gets that in 2020. But we don't want to go down that road. We want Stallings to be the backup catcher to Diaz in 2020. And that's what it can be if they don't DFA him. If they DFA him and be stupid, he will not return. But overall, again, this Astros series was the best series of the season by far. We went into Houston and beat the best team in baseball by 25-7. Only road team to go down there all season and win a series. First time since September of 2018 that a road team has won a series at Minute Maid. It's impressive. And it's not like we just, won a series, snuck by. No, we pounded them. And really could have won the game on Tuesday night as well. Marte home run gets out of there. It's a completely different game. We had bases loaded against Cole as well. Weren't able to cash in. If we cash in there, completely different game, completely different story. At the end of the day, though, it was the best series the Pirates have played all season. And it was a series that they needed in order to get back in the hunt, get back in the contention. The margin for error is slim, and I'm not denying that, as the Pirates ball club still sits 2 games below 500. We need to work on getting back to 500 and then strong above it. But they're back in contention. They are, and it is exciting to see, and that Astros series played a huge role and this Pirates team being in the position that they are right now, back in the thick of things. Again, the margin of error is slim, but I'd rather have a slim margin of error than no margin of error. An injured Pittsburgh Pirates infielder will begin a rehab assignment and began his rehab assignment on Friday night. On April 19th, Pittsburgh Pirates shortstop Eric Gonzalez and center fielder Starling Marte collided in shallow center field. On the play, both players were injured. While Marte spent just 10 days on the injured list, Gonzalez has been in the IL for over 2 months with a broken clavicle bone. Gonzalez is now set to return to game action, according to Rob Biertempo of The Athletic. And this did happen. The infielder began a rehab assignment with AAA Indianapolis. It will be interesting to see how things shake out with Gonzalez, both during his rehab assignment and after he returns. With Indianapolis, odds are Gonzalez will play all over the field. While Gonzalez started the season as the Pirates starting shortstop, it will be tough for him to find starts at shortstop for the Indians. With Cole Tucker entrenched as the starting shortstop at AAA, and the Pirates wanting him to get everyday at-bats and reps, it's unlikely Gonzalez plays a lot of shortstop at AAA. Gonzalez has played every position except center field and catcher at the MLB level, so playing all over the field should be nothing new to him. Additionally, when he rejoins the Pirates, Gonzalez will likely be in a utility role. Prior to getting injured, Gonzalez was just slashing for a .216 average, a .298 OBP, and a .294 slugging, with a WRC plus of 47. He was also struggling defensively at shortstop. Combine this with the emergence of Kevin Newman and his starting job at shortstop, it's a thing in the past. Another factor in Gonzalez's rehab assignment could be any potential roster moves from the Pirates this weekend, after optioning Jason Martin for Dario Agrazal on Wednesday, and then Agrazal for Dovidas Neverauskas on Thursday. The Pirates currently have 8 relievers and just 4 bench bats on the roster. With their team turning to National League play and no longer having the designated hitter at their exposure, it makes having a full 5-man bench much more important. If an infielder such as Tucker or Kevin Kramer return to the MLB club this weekend, that could open up a spot on the Indy infield for Gonzalez. And when Gonzalez returns again, it's going to be as that utility role. He began the season as the Pirates starting shortstop, and he had earned that coming out of spring training. He won the job. And on April 19th, he lost the job in a devastating collision with Pirates center fielder Starling Marte. Marte only spent 10 days on that injured list, while Gonzalez has spent ever since then. He began his rehab assignment last night, and in that time period, we know that Kevin Newman was on the IL with a middle finger laceration. Cole Tucker came in and he took the job. It looked like he was going to run with it forever. And then he struggled, and Kevin Newman has taken the job and has become the everyday shortstop and will be that. Eric Gonzalez is not coming back and taking that job from who should be an all-star in Kevin Newman and Rookie of the Year candidate. Eric Gonzalez is not going to come back and do that, but he will come back and be a super utility player. And that's what the Pirates need, and that's what they're going to get from him. He's played every single position on the diamond besides catcher and center field at the major league level, and he can certainly bounce around and will be bouncing around in Indy because he did play shortstop last night. But Cole Tucker is going to be the shortstop in Indy. Kevin Kramer is going to be the second baseman at Indy. So it's just a matter of if Kramer or Tucker get called up at some point with if they want to go to the 5-man bench again, and that could potentially open a spot for Gonzalez on the Indy infield at shortstop or second base. But expect to see Gonzo moving around from third, short, second, first, left, right, you name it. He's going to be moving around, bouncing around, getting ready to come up and play a utility role. And he'll be a valuable defensive replacement. Although Frazier's been a solid defensive second baseman, could come in late for Frazier, could come in late for guys like Gong or Moran, and be that defensive replacement late in those games. And that's really what his future, I believe, with the Pirates will be, is being that super utility guy, but being more of a defensive guy. Almost like Sean Rodriguez when he was at his peak, how he could play defense excellent and he could hit a little bit, right? And that's, I believe, what Eric Gonzalez's future with this Pirates team is. And again, coming into the season, he was the starting shortstop for what was expected to be a very good Pirates baseball team. Now he's going to be a super utility defensive replacement for a still good Pirates baseball team. That's what he's going to be moving forward. And again, it'll be interesting to see how Esposito uses him in AAA, because that will ultimately determine how he is used by Clint Hurdle in Pittsburgh when he makes his return. I'd assume that the Pirates are going to want him to take the full 20 days down there in Indy. There's no rush to get him back to Pittsburgh. Now, certainly something could happen that makes his return to Pittsburgh go that much faster, but at this point, Erik Gonzalez just needs to go down, get his back going again, get going in the game action, because last night was his first game that he's played since that April 19th when he broke his collarbone with a collision with Starling Marte in center field. The rest of the week, the shaping up for the Pirates, they've got the Brewers obviously tonight and on Sunday. Stephen Brault will be going on Sunday, and then they come home for a huge series against Cubs. They've got Trevor Williams going for the Pirates against the Cubs on Monday, going up against a rookie, I believe, for the Cubs, Alzolay for the Cubs. And then on Tuesday, to be determined, going up against Yu Darvish. Wednesday, they got the Cubs, and Thursday they got the Cubs, and they got the Brewers to close out the first half of the season. And again, these 9 games, and really this whole 13-game stretch, is going to tell the story of the 2019 Pirates. So we're going to look back at this and say either they flourished and that led to a playoff run and a potential World Series victory, or we're going to look back at this and say this is where they had the opportunity to do big things, but they failed to do so. And they've started off this 13-game stretch very solid, going 3-1. It's just a matter if they can continue that for these next 9 games. And if they, again, can go 7-2 or 6-3 in these next 9 games, it's going to put them in very good position heading into the All-Star break. They need to manage the outfield properly. Dickerson, Marte, and Reynolds need to start every day. These next 2 starts, Joe Musgrove needs to fill that big void in the rotation, and the team just needs to keep on keeping on with that lineup, as they do have the best overall offense in baseball in the month of June, hitting for a .292 average. If they keep on doing that, because again, this team isn't going to hit a bunch of home runs. They're a small ball, get on base, create traffic type of team. And that team can work. And we've seen that work as recently as the Royals when they won the World Series in 2015. We've seen that style of baseball work, and we've seen it play out on the biggest stage. It's just a matter of this rotation re-solidifying itself, and it's done a pretty good job of doing that. Lyles coming back and returning and being strong tonight goes a long way in getting the rotation back to the elite level it was in April. Jameson Taillon is set to resume throwing this weekend. He's still a ways off. I'd go over a month on him. But if he returns sometime in August, let's say, maybe September, would be huge down the stretch. And obviously he would be unbelievably fresh heading into the postseason if that were to become a reality for this Pirates team. Jameson Taillon, again, has not thrown many innings thus far in 2019, going back to his flexor strain that he's dealing with. And again, we have reported that surgery is a possibility, certainly, for Jameson Taillon. It's just a matter of if this throwing process can go well and if he can return strong to the mound. He's had a lot of time off since his last time pitching, and he really hasn't thrown since then. He's been down in Bradenton doing some stuff. He's back with the team and back throwing, so we'll have more information on that on Wednesday when trainer Todd Tomczyk gives his weekly report, and then we'll also most likely have a report on Keone Kela and how his rehab is going, hopefully a report on Lonnie Chisenhall, and just his usual weekly report that we get there as well. Erik Gonzalez making his way back on rehab. That's going to do it for our show today. Thank you again all for tuning in to Bucko Booth, the Pittsburgh Pirates Baseball Podcast Network podcast. It was a pleasure doing this with you for an hour. We'll be back here on Saturday again talking Pirates baseball. Hopefully by this time next week, we have the potential to be in first place in the NL Central, sitting at only 4 games back and 3 games back of that second NL wildcard spot. So a lot of big baseball coming up. These 9 games are by far the biggest of the 2019 season. Just a matter of they can accomplish the 3 goals that we stated with managing the outfield properly, Joe Musgrove filling the void, and the team keeping on with the offense. We'll see you here next Saturday. As always, let's go Bucks, and have a safe week, everybody.